Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, coming to you from the Kutt Bet Studio in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I am your host, as always, and I'm joined here by the incomparable Doc Jacobson. Before we get things going here, we want to thank our friends over at Kutt. I'm sure you have the same problem as we do, in that it's hard to keep up with all the different bets you've made against your friends. Who's paid, who hasn't, what were the terms, and on and on. Well, we came across this cool new app called Kutt that formalized that whole process so that you don't have to check the notes on your phone or scroll endlessly through your group chat. It's essentially a better version of Venmo, but for betting, with interactive features that make it more social. It tracks all your bets, allows you to create your own lines, see your record against your friends, perhaps most importantly, ensure that you're paid when you win. Go check them out at Kutt.com or on Instagram at KuttBet. That's Kutt, K-U-T-T. I'd also like to take a minute to give a shout out to our friends over at Rosati's in Buckhead. Rosati's is the #1 place to watch all the action on their more than 40 big screen TVs while enjoying their more than 100 beers on tap. They have the best wings in Atlanta, best pizza in Atlanta, and coldest beer in Atlanta. Support the people who support us. Support Rosati's in Buckhead. All right, we have an exciting episode for you today as we have a special guest join us. He is a 16-year NFL veteran, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, New York Times bestselling author, founder of Nutrition 53, coach, actor, the one and only Bill Romanowski. Bill, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, you got it, guys. How are you?
Hey, couldn't be better right now. Just excited to talk with you. I know that Doc's been chomping at the bit. He's been watching a lot of highlight films, and I think he may have a Raiders jersey on order already.
Oh, nice. I like it.
So I want to start off by mentioning the fact that, of course, you are one of the NFL's Iron Men, having played in 243 consecutive games. Now, of course, we have guys missing games due to opting out in college or because their team's already clinched in the NFL. I have that concept may be a bit foreign to you now.
Hello? I missed you. You cut out there. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So I wanted to ask you about, of course, your Ironman streak. And as it pertains to, a lot of players are opting out now in college, or you'll see guys missing the final week of the year because they've already clinched in the NFL. That's got to be kind of foreign to you, no?
Oh, definitely very foreign. And on my streak with 243, what they don't count is playoff games and Super Bowls. You do that, it's up to 269. So, hey, I love being out on the field. I love playing. I do agree with some of the kids that if they know they're going to be a high round draft pick and they opt out of a bowl game, I definitely wouldn't opt out of a national championship game. But it's, it's a different atmosphere now. There's a lot more money at stake. And, a lot of these kids, are being advised by their agents and stuff like that, which for me, I just wanted to play football. And I love playing football, and I wanted to be out on that field every chance I got.
Absolutely. You have one of the most insane football resumes. Not only did you play in 5 Super Bowls, winning 4, but you were also a freshman on that 1984 Boston College team with the Doug Flutie Hail Mary, right?
I was.
So
yeah.
How did you get up for games like that? And I guess more importantly, how did you come down from a game like that?
You know what? Getting up for a game was not hard. Like I said, I loved being out on that field. And I always looked at the sideline as failure. So I never wanted to be on the sideline, because in my mind, if I was on the sideline, I wasn't playing, which means I wasn't doing well. And so that to me was just not an option. And I would do almost anything to be out on that field. It didn't matter what kind of injury I had. I went into, whenever I, got injured, which was all the time, my mind clicked into overload. I brought in specialists from all over the world to keep me healthy and just so I could continue to play.
And I can only imagine what all you're going through out there. I mean, you were playing in the era. You were one of the most tenacious strikers in NFL history, and played with a guy like Ronnie Lott, and played against guys like LT and John Lynch and so forth. And you detailed a lot of the new awareness about concussions, and of course we have a lot in your book, Romo, My Life on the Edge, Living Dreams and Slaying Dragons. And of course, the Tom Brady injury in 2008 changed a lot of the rules and so forth. How do you think you would have adapted to those changes if they were happening in real time in your career?
I was being fined on a regular basis for the hits I was putting on people, and this wasn't just like Kerry Collins. I was getting fined, you know, 4 or 5 times a season for the kind of hits I was putting on people. Now, I probably would be fined every week because I remember this one game. Um, we're getting ready to play the Chiefs, and Mike Shanahan called me in his office, and he said, "Bill, I just got word that the NFL told me if you get fined again, they're going to suspend you a game." And that was early in the week, and I took I took that pretty hard because of course, the streak, the sideline is failure, the thought of not playing a game, I just could not handle that. So there was a part of me that started thinking throughout the week, okay, how should I do this? Let me focus on hitting guys with my shoulder. Let me, maybe I, I don't know. I just started playing this mental game. And then finally, I got to Saturday. I said, I can't do it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play the way I play. And if I get fined, I get fined. I don't know how it happened, but I didn't get fined. And, I think there were 4 or 5 games, the rest of that season. And I didn't get fined the rest of the season. So that was a year we didn't make the playoffs. But I would have had a hard time because I was a head hitter. I was taught to tackle hitting with my head. And to me, I remember in high school and college, in my early days in the pros, if you didn't use your head, that wasn't a good hit. That's just the way it was. That wasn't a good tackle. A good strike is when you hit them right here with your helmet. And I remember when I hit Kerry Collins. Um, I cracked his helmet, broke his face mask, and and he was bleeding out of his nose and his mouth and his ears. And when I got to the sideline, you would have thought we won the Super Bowl. That's how excited, my teammates were and my coaches. It was that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you do that now, you get thrown out of the game, and you'll potentially get suspended a number of games.
Yeah, it's really handicapping a lot of defensive players and what they're able to do out there about limiting low. Now you're seeing roughing the passers for guys going low on a guy, so you can't go high, you
Yeah.
can't go low. Was Of course you were one of the most feared players in the NFL when you were playing. Was there anyone that you went up against that I don't want to say feared. I don't want to put that on you, but you were like that guy.
It's actually a guy that you probably wouldn't even know. Played for the Steelers. His name was Mark Bruner. And he was, I don't know, 265 pounds. He played tight end. I didn't have to worry about him, catching a ball on me. But the way he came off the ball and the way he blocked, oh my God. It was every time I lined up against him, it was like, how am I going to do this? And I would strike him with my head. I would, swim move outside, swim move inside. I tried everything. And he was just damn good. He was like playing against an offensive tackle, at the tight end position. But he was one of the toughest, and of course, guys that I had to cover, you know, Tony Gonzalez is a guy that stands out. Before I got to the Broncos, Shannon Sharp was not an easy guy to cover. But, you know, but I covered tight ends and I
Mhm.
could shut those guys down. It wasn't easy, but I could shut them down.
Now, I heard a lot of people talk about Andrew Luck after he was going down, that he'd say, "Oh, great hit," and that would just mess with dudes more so than like your typical trash talk that you heard on the field. Was there anyone that had memorable trash talk that you either once went back and forth with or just routinely had it out with? And with that sort of Andrew Luck mentality of just, aw shucks, friendly dude hopping back up, would that bother you
Well,
too?
I remember, when I was playing for Philadelphia, I got a sack against Brett Favre, and I kind of held his neck a little bit, and kind of held him down. And he
Yeah.
slapped my helmet and he said, "Romo, hit me harder next time." And I was like, man, what do I say to that? You
Yeah.
know, it's not like clearly I couldn't get in the head of Brett Favre. So, that actually kind of messed with me a little bit. But, I have a lot of respect for Brett and what he did in his career.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I remember Aaron Rodgers telling a story about defensive end Wolf for the Broncos a little bit ago, who would just be yelling, "I'm coming to kill you! I'm coming to kill you!" every single snap and things like that. Were you hollering across the line of scrimmage like that?
Always, always, you know, I would do the same stuff, you know, whatever I could get away with. If I knew I could get in the head of a player, that's what I would do.
Hmm. Now, as far as a pile and going after a fumble and so forth, you hear all these stories about the horrors that goes on in there. What were some of the worst things that either you did or that you know of that happened going on in NFL pile?
You know what? I mean, yeah, there's always a lot going on, a lot of punching, a lot of finger grabbing and stuff like that. But I remember I was in a playoff game against the Giants, and David Meggett caught a ball, and I tackled him, and I'm trying to rip the ball out of his hands at the bottom of the pile, and I didn't wasn't able to do it, but all I got a hold of was one of his fingers. And I just went, and I heard the crack and a scream at the bottom of a pile. And, I can't say I feel good about that, but, it was a situation where he went out of the game and he came back in with a big bandage on his hand. And I knew, we were going to have a better chance of winning because he wasn't going to be able to catch balls out of the backfield.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something that you hear a lot about the grabbing, the pulling. I think maybe it was Takeo Spikes said there's eye poking a lot down there, some gouging things
I've
like that.
got I've got a scar right here from David Weidel from the Jaguars. He reached up underneath my face mask and scratched me, you know. And, the situation like that, I played with him in college and, he does that to me. And I went after him like I was going to kill him, you know? But after the game, it was like, hey, you SOB, why the hell did you do that? And he said, I didn't do it on purpose. I said, bull crap, you didn't,
Mhm.
you know? So
Now, Doc and I like to talk a lot about a hypothetical about would we rather try to tackle Derrick Henry in the open field or try to elude James Harrison type or a Bill Romanowski type in the open field? Which one do you think ends up in more danger and more peril for us?
hmm, that's a good one. Uh, I think
Neither
that
ends up well for me. I know that.
what's that?
I know neither ends up well for me. I know that off the bat.
Yeah. I tell you what, Derrick Henry is the real deal. I wouldn't want to tackle him. I know that. He there's a part of me he reminds me of a lot of like the bus, Jerome Bettis. Um, Big, strong, you know, but he seems to be even faster than the bus. And so, well, good luck. Take your pick. I think either of those are not a good outcome.
Yeah, that's a write your will in advance sort of mentality for me. So of course, you were in the remake of The Longest Yard as Lambert, and subsequently had roles in numerous other films. What was it like being on set with like just an incredible cast of guys, like whether actors like Chris Rock and Adam Sandler, and former athletes, Michael Irvin, so forth? What was it like on set, and how did you get involved with Adam Sandler?
You know what? I got a call from him one day. And he said, "Hey, Romo, Adam Sandler here. I'm doing a movie. Would you like to be in it?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I went down to LA and met with him and his team, and they offered me the role, and it was probably the most fun I had doing something ever.
Mhm.
I mean, the laughs, Chris Rock, things come out of his mouth like a machine gun, and they're funny. Where Adam is a little different with his humor, where he's always thinking of something you say, and he'll make a joke after something you say, and he's hilarious, you know. Um, but being around all those people was so much fun. Burt Reynolds was unreal, you know. Um, Loved talking football with him. He loved talking football with me. That was a highlight for sure, and one of the funnest times of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah, we back to some of the highlights of your career again, with just along with your resume, you also played with guys like Elway and Montana and Ronnie Lott and Flutie and Jerry Rice and Tim Brown and so forth. And spending time as a coach, what would you teach kids about what made them successful, and things you saw from guys like that?
What made them special is they were hard work. That not only were they gifted, but they were hard workers every day. When I got to the San Francisco 49ers, every time Jerry Rice caught a pass, he took it all the way to the end zone. Every time Roger Craig took a handoff, he took it all the way to the end zone. So what did I do? I ran their asses down to the end zone every time, and over and over, and it just was ingrained with me to pursue the ball, uh, you know, all the way. And but that's what stands out to me. Ronnie Lott had the ability to make a big play in a big game, and he did it over and over and over again. That's just who he was. He was an amazing player, an amazing leader, and I learned an awful lot from him.
Absolutely. Now, again, we really appreciate you joining us. We'll get you out of here on this. What can you tell everyone about your company, Nutrition 53? What made you start that, and what can our listeners look for that can help themselves with Nutrition 53?
You know what? I left the NFL. I was passionate about nutrition, um, and I asked myself, what do I want to do next? And I, I did a bunch of movies, had a lot of fun doing that, but my kids were small at the time, and being away for 2, 3, 4 months at a time is not good when you got young kids at home. So I then asked myself, okay, what do I love? I love nutrition. So I did, a couple years at Muscle Milk and learned the industry, and then branched out on my own and started Nutrition 53, a lifestyle brand that really, is about three helping people with three different things in their life. And that is leaning down, brain focus, clarity, and sleeping well. And I thought if people in this country could be leaner, sleep well, and be smarter and more focused, that would make this world a better place. And that truly is why I started Nutrition 53. Our flagship product is Lean One. And Lean One is, a great tasting meal replacement shake that will make you leaner. You want to lose 5 to 10 pounds in a month? That is Lean One. You want to be sharper and more focused? That's Lean One Neuro. You want to be sleep better? That's Lean One Sleep. And it's something I use the product every day, and I know they help a lot of people. The company's doing phenomenal, and I feel very blessed.
Absolutely. Definitely something to check out, particularly a lot of people making New Year's resolutions. If you're looking to get more sleep, if you're looking to have better focus, clarity at work, and of course, if you're looking to shed a few pounds, go check out Bill's company over at Nutrition 53. But Bill, it was a lot of fun having you on. I couldn't thank you more for doing this. Really appreciate you being on with us.
You got it. I appreciate your time, and take care.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks,
this
Bill. Enjoy
weekend,
your
go
time out.
Raiders.
That's right. That was
Okay. Bye.
16. Thanks, Bill. That was 16-year NFL veteran, four-time Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, New York Times bestselling author, founder of Nutrition 53, coach and actor Bill Romanowski. Really, really appreciate him joining us. Thanks as always for listening. You can check us out on Twitter at SJB Atlanta or on Instagram at Spaghetti Junction Boys. Check out Kutt Bet on Twitter, KUTTBET. Same handle on Instagram as well. Thanks as always for listening. We'll see you next week.